Hi, my name is Lana and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing the mid-year book freakout tag. This is my first tag video and I'm super excited. It was so fun going through everything I read this year and coming up with answers to these questions. So let's just get started. Best book you've read so far in 2020. This one was hard to pick, but I'm going with Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. That book ruined me. Best sequel you read in 2020. I'm going with the Truly Devious trilogy by Maureen Johnson. The last book in the trilogy, that's The Hand on the Wall, because the stories get tied up together and you sort of understand how everything is connected, and it's wonderful. Question number 3 is new release you haven't read yet but want to. There are several that I'm very excited about, but I'm going with The Court of Miracles. The synopsis is very intriguing. I'm really looking forward to that one. Number 4, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I'm going with the novel Fence. Could not be more excited. I'm a big fan of the comics. So the book, written by Sarah Rees Brennan, who I love, in Other Lands is one of my favorite books of all time, is based on the comics that were written by C.S. Picard, who wrote the Captive Prince trilogy, another favorite book of all time. It's bound to be incredible and I cannot wait. Question number 5, biggest disappointment. The City of Dreaming Books by Walter Moores. I kept seeing this book mentioned a lot and I picked it up and it was just really not for me. Not at all. No. Number 6, biggest surprise. I'm going with The Magpie Murders by Anthony Horowitz. The funny thing is, I don't even remember putting the book in my TBR. It's been there for years. So when it became available in the library and I picked it up, and I had no idea what the book was about. Based on the name, I was hoping it was a murder mystery, but I was not sure. And I think that's what contributed to it being the biggest surprise, because I had very little expectations because I had no idea what I was about to read, and it was incredible. It was a 5-star read. I loved it so much that I'm planning to go through other books of Anthony Horowitz and hopefully loving them as well. Number 7 is new favorite author, and I have 2 just because of both of these authors. I read more than one book and both of those books were great. One of them is Riley Sager. I first read Final Girls and I really enjoyed it, and then I read Lock Every Door, which I loved. The reason I feel okay to include 2 authors here is because one of them is purely fiction and the other one is purely nonfiction. The second one is Kelly McGonigal, and she is incredible. I'm such a fan. I read 2 books by Kelly McGonigal. One was Willpower Instinct and the other one was about stress, and they were incredible. I really highly recommend her books. I really want to read her book about movement, but I've yet to do that. Number 8 is newest fictional crush. No one really stood out to me, but I just finished reading Date Me, Bryson Keller by Kevin Van Wy, and I really enjoyed Bryson Keller. He is just such a great person, and I really appreciated him, so I'm gonna go with him. Number 9 is newest favorite character. This one was also hard because not because there were so many that I loved, but there were a lot that I liked, but few really stood out. But I'm going to go with Wylan from the Six of Crows duology. He is so precious and so smart and so brave and so naive and innocent, and I just love him so much. Number 10 is a book that made me cry, and once again I'm going to name Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. If you know, you know. Number 11 is a book that made me happy, and surprisingly, I'm going with Scrappy Little Nobody by Anna Kendrick. This was the very first book I read this year, and it was a very random, it was not a planned read. I just needed something to listen to on my commute, and it was available in the library. And so I listened to the audiobook and I loved it. It was so good. It was so funny. It was so interesting. The stories were incredible. And it did really make me very happy reading that book. Number 12 is favorite book to film adaptation you've seen this year. And I'm going with 2 because I'm not sure if it's supposed to be a book to film adaptation of which the book I've also read. In that case, I'm going with Little Women. I loved the book when I was younger. I loved the film. The other movie is just Mercy. I've not read the book, so I don't know if it qualifies, but the movie is incredible. I highly recommend it. 13 is favorite review you've written, and I don't really write reviews on Goodreads. I do sometimes review stuff on my Bookstagram, but I'm going to go with my first video on booktube ever, my May wrap-up, because it's my first video and it was something that, you know, was scary to do, and I planned it for so long, and I'm going with that. Number 14 is most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. I have not bought many physical books this year, but of the ones that I did buy, I'm going to say it's Circe by Madeline Miller. It's so pretty and I love it. Last question is 15. What book do you need to finish before the end of 2020? And it's Secret History by Donna Tartt. I bought this secondhand a few years ago and I've yet to read it, and it's time. I definitely plan to tackle this in the next few weeks. And I'm excited. Yay! So these were all the questions of the tag. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to put all the questions in the description below, so make sure to enter them in the comments. I would love to hear about your experience so far in 2020, what you're reading, what you're hoping to read, what are your most anticipated books of 2020, because I'm always looking for more to add to my TBR. Have a great day, and thank you so much for watching.